He's a pure savage.
Yeah, he don't care about
nothing. He's a pure savage. Yeah. And that's also why he was so good at fighting, man. In the middle of the Jose Aldo fight, I remember looking into his eyes and watching how calm, like genuinely calm he was. I'm like, this guy just, and Dana said it best. He's like, he eats pressure. He just eats it. He likes it. He wants it to be chaos. It's got a guy say that, but they don't really.
It's pretty much, well, not confirmed by the UFC, but confirmed by Islam Makhachev. Islam Makhachev came out and said, no, that fight's not happening. He's got lots of work to do in the welterweight division. Outside of that, I mean, Michael Chandler's ranked number 13. There's Renato Moicano at 10. There's Dan Hooker at number 8. He wouldn't be a bad stylistic matchup for Conor McGregor, but I think it's going to be like an old school throwback and something big and something that's going to blow people away. Dustin Poirier would do that. I think Jorge Masvidal would do that. And certainly a third fight with Nate Diaz, that would definitely blow the roof off.
Keep going, move it, weave it.
You're under arrest. You're under arrest. Stop resisting.
But Conor McGregor is the perfect example. Why do you think he's such a big star? You think he's such a big star because he's funny? Yeah, that's part of it. You think he's such a big star because he speaks so well? Absolutely part of it. And you just keep going down the line of all these things that makes him a star. But number one, first and foremost, the reason he is a global superstar and people love this guy is because he's a real fighter. This guy, I'm the guy that makes the phone calls and hears people going, yeah, I'm not going to take that fight, or I'm not going to do this, or I'm not going to do that. Never has Conor McGregor said, Lorenzo and I were standing in his living room. Kid just woke up, got out of bed, he's in his underwear, okay? Doesn't even have time to process what's really going on. Looks us dead in the eye and says, I'm going to take a shower and get dressed and work out. Let me know after I'm done working out who I'm fighting. Doesn't care.
Right.
And that, people feel that, and people notice that, and people...
It is interesting that in the time where that low calf kick is coming to prominence, and, you know, this is also the time when Conor started moving away from the sport, took time off, fought boxing, you know, then came back and had the fight with Khabib, and then came back and had the fight with Cowboy. The calf kick was never in play in any of his fights. But if you look at him stylistically, and this is one of the things, I love DC's detail that he does on ESPN. Yeah. It's amazing. But when he broke down Conor's heavy weight on the right leg, he leans in like this all the time. It's such a big weapon.
And sometimes he, like you said, that wide stance as well. Mm-hmm. It's just hard to check the kick from that wide stance.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it's a crazy stance for everything other than calf kicks. It's a great stance. Yeah. I mean, he's so good at moving in and covering distance with that stance.
The comeback talk isn't quiet anymore. It's getting real. Conor McGregor is back in serious training, and everything points to him aiming for a return on the White House card. This time, the whole feel is different because there's no sideshow, no extra noise, and no constant distractions taking over the story. What you're seeing is a former double champion trying to bring back the version of himself that once made people believe he couldn't be stopped. If he really walks into a moment that big, it won't be some memory lane appearance. It'll be him trying to stamp his name on the sport again and remind everyone exactly who he is.
Last one, White House is what everybody's talking about. Big card on June 14th. There's going to be 100,000 people across the street.
I'm going to be in there.
Who's more likely to fight on that card, John Jones or Conor McGregor?
I'll say Conor McGregor. Listen,
Why?
man, if you're gonna have the biggest fight card of all time, you got to have the biggest star the UFC has ever seen.
Yeah.
I say
with Conor McGregor, even a tweet that vanishes can shake the entire fight world. That's why people paid attention when Michael Bisping broke down McGregor's short, explosive post where he claimed he'd been offered a fight, accepted the terms for the opponent, and was simply waiting on the contract before deleting it quickly. Bisping's read on it was that it felt real, almost like McGregor jumped the gun and fired off news that wasn't meant to be public yet. That timing matters, because if Bisping is right, then this comeback isn't far away, and the gap between rumor and reality just got a lot smaller.
McGregor, according to his recently deleted tweet, he's back, he's coming, he's on.
I'm coming!
What did he say? He said, I have been offered an opponent, and I accept. Waiting on, he said, I've been offered an opponent and I accept, waiting on my contract. Now that tweet recently got deleted as well. One would assume, right, reading between the lines, could be wrong, that he's telling the truth, that he got the offer, they've agreed an opponent, and he was very excited, so he tweeted about something, then he was like, oh shit, I'm not supposed to say anything yet, or whatever, so he deleted it, okay? And obviously, it's a nice little PR move, it generates some interest for Conor McGregor, and the interest for Conor McGregor, he doesn't need to generate interest, let's be honest, okay? Everyone is still...
Bisping's point stayed simple, even if it irritates some people, because love him or hate him, Conor McGregor is still the biggest draw in the sport by a wide margin. To show why, he brought up the history with Nate Diaz, 1 win each, 2 all-out wars, and massive numbers for both events. That first fight shocked everyone when Diaz ended it by submission. Oh, and the second fight turned into a hard back and forth where McGregor's adjustments helped him win the decision, but only after Diaz pushed him every step of the way. That rivalry never really cooled off, which is why if Diaz truly wants unfinished business and wants to act like he can take over this era, a third fight becomes one of the biggest options the UFC could possibly put together.
But Nate Diaz, that is correct. Stockton's own, king of the face slap, whatever you want to call him.
I don't give a I don't give a either. I don't give a either.
Nate Diaz, he was never far away from a bit of controversy, okay? He was talking recently, and he said that he's coming back. He's got unfinished business. He's going to take over, that this generation of fighters, they're all crap, and he's going to come in, take over. He's got unfinished work to do.
McGregor 3, I want to fight maybe Dustin Poirier if he's subject to the pussy, and then maybe Mike Perry. Let's see what happens in the future, though.
And someone said, what about the White House? He's like, oh yeah, that'd be dope too.
Yeah, the White House would be perfect.
You're the man. Now, we've talked about this many times. Of course, Diaz and McGregor, they are one apiece. Nate Diaz shocked the world. He wasn't
Surprise, mother.
when he choked out Conor McGregor, and of course they fought again. Conor came back. It was another great performance. He dropped him with leg kicks. He dropped him with every left hand that he threw. But it was a war, and Diaz made him work, and Diaz even had Conor running away at one point because he was getting a little bit tired. But the fact of the matter is that those were 2 of the most watched fights in UFC history, much like all of Conor McGregor's fights, okay? He is by far and large the biggest.
On top of that, Bisping said that if the White House card actually becomes real, he expects Conor McGregor to be involved in it. He also brought up a matchup he would personally rather watch, and that was Jorge Masvidal instead of a fight with Michael Chandler, although he didn't toss the Nate Diaz idea aside either. Diaz still carries serious star power and a fan base that feels almost legendary in MMA. And Bisping compared that kind of following to what Diaz's brother has drawn for years. That connection matters here, because Nick Diaz has hinted at returning too, saying he feels refreshed and in a better place, even though his last outing against Robbie Lawler looked rough. Bisping's takeaway was clear, because if both Diaz brothers are healthy and driven, it adds even more massive options to an event that already feels loaded.
But the White House is going down, and Conor McGregor, I think, will be fighting on it, and Jorge Masvidal would be a good matchup, okay? I'd rather watch that than Michael Chandler, respectfully, but Nate Diaz 3? Now, Nate Diaz is still a draw, right? People love Nate Diaz. He has got cult-like status in the mixed martial arts world, just like his brother. And his brother Nick, by the way, he said recently that he's going to come back as well. He said, maybe I was getting it confused, maybe he said this new generation of fighters. He's only 42 years old. He's cleaned up his act. He's been to rehab and stuff like that. Of course, last time we saw him, it wasn't a good look. He was a little bit overweight. I think it was Robbie Lawler that he fought. But he looks clean. He looks...
As the White House buzz keeps growing, Daniel Cormier jumped in with what might be the biggest question of all. Which name is more likely to actually fight on that historic card? When Cormier had to choose between John Jones and Conor McGregor, he leaned toward McGregor without much hesitation. His reasoning wasn't complicated. Because if the UFC wants to build the largest event it has ever promoted, and it expects a huge crowd on June 14th, then it makes sense to center it around the biggest star the company has ever had. In Cormier's view, that star is McGregor, and that's why he sees the hype as more than talk, because to him, this is the kind of setup that usually ends with a real spectacle.
Last one, White House is what everybody's talking about. Big card on June 14th. There's going to be 100,000 people across the street.
I'm going to be in there.
Who's more likely to fight on that card, John Jones or Conor McGregor?
I'll say Conor McGregor. Listen,
Why?
man, if you're gonna have the biggest fight card of all time, you gotta have the biggest star the UFC has ever seen.
Yeah.
I say
Different angle came from Henry Cejudo when he was asked which matchup stands out the most. He didn't hesitate either, but he leaned toward Tom and Jones over Francis and Jones, and he tied his reasoning directly to what the night represents. This isn't being treated like a normal event because it's the nation's 250th birthday, and Cejudo framed it as England versus the USA, with an all-time great facing the present. He described it as a clash between eras, the kind of fight that carries a legacy feel before it even starts. And in his mind, it isn't just a headline, it's a moment that could sit in UFC history as something bigger than the usual hype.
So Henry, here's the potentials. Alex Pereira, John Jones, White House. Or Dana says, all right, John Jones, Tom Aspinall, White House. Or Dana says, John Jones, Francis Ngannou, White House. Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler, White House. What's the biggest fight out of these 4 fights here?
I'd probably say Tom and Jones.
Over Francis and Jones?
Yes. Why? Because it's the 250th birthday of our country. England versus USA. The greatest of all time. The greatest of all time versus the present.
I like where you're at. I told you.
MMA Guru has been riding the White House card conversation too, and what grabs him most are the matchups that feel like they could explode before the bell even rings. He keeps circling fights like Topuria versus Islam Makhachev because those kinds of names bring real tension, real edge, and that sense that one wrong move could flip the entire night. Skill matters, but for him the bigger draw is that raw collision feeling, the kind of pairing that makes a crowd sit up because it feels unpredictable. The way he talks about it, those are the fights that would define the night. The type people would still be arguing about after the lights go down.
Funny.
Islam and Armin could be good.
But I don't think there'd be too much bad blood between them. I'd want to see like a Topuria Makhachev on them.
Oh,
that'd be good too.
They'd
have to be separated. They'd be pushing matches. They'd almost get into a scrap. You know what I mean?
Look at these massive ideas. Fucking yeah. He's like, God damn it. Someone.
Islam Makhachev isn't hiding what he wants either, because he's making it clear that he wants the White House spotlight, and he wants it soon. For him, this isn't just another defense or another name on the record. It's a shot at history on a stage that doesn't come around often. Everything about his message sounds focused, because he's ready, locked in, and hungry. Yet the biggest question is still sitting there with no answer, which is who steps up to face him. That uncertainty is exactly why the intrigue keeps climbing, because without an opponent confirmed, fans can run through every possible matchup in their heads. One thing feels obvious though, because when Makhachev walks into that octagon, he won't be treating it like a normal fight. He'll be treating it like a statement.
If somebody wants, let's do it. I tell them I will be ready soon. If White House, of course, I want to be in White House because there may be one and only we will make the fighting in White House. I want to be in history. Now I am already make good money, which one I enough for my family, you know. And now I have everything before. It's also not coming in my dream, you know. Now I just ready, you know. I training every day, still hungry, still fighting, still want to be champion.
So now the word is out in the rumor mill. Conor McGregor is being talked about as locked in for the White House card, and that turns the whole conversation into one giant question. Who does he actually fight? Names are flying around, and Michael Chandler keeps getting attention because the matchup sells chaos. Yet a lot of fans are holding out for something that really tests Conor's skill level right away, and that's why Nate Diaz keeps coming up. And even Mauricio Ruffy is being mentioned as a tougher kind of challenge. That's where things get interesting, because it could be something obvious, or it could be a pick that catches everyone off guard and turns into a high-stakes clash nobody expected. However it plays out, the feeling around this is that the octagon is about to heat up fast, and now it's on the fans to call their shot and say who they think should step up to face the Notorious.